Remember, you see, the thing is this: when you're involved in these affairs, other people know a lot more than you do. I used to get letters from home, and my mother used to follow the war very closely, and she used to tell me more of what was going on in our bloody area than what I knew myself, because you're that involved in it. All you know is what's happening in your immediate area, and all they tell you is what it's essential for you to know. You know who's on your right and who's on your left, and what the plan is, and you know. But that's about all. You don't really know what's going on in the whole operation. So the Mike Tiller, I didn't even know it was a blind that for Mandalay, but I know that we crossed the Irrawaddy at Mandalay, and I didn't even know there was a feint then at Mike Tiller, because there was already a feint at what do they call it? A dummy run at Mandalay. We crossed south of Mandalay to draw the Japanese army away from the city, while the 19th Indian Division, I think it was, came through in the centre. They'd been in reserve, and they were what they call the fresh division, so they'd been involved earlier on, but they'd been out on rest and that. And the plan was for us to do the crossing on the 24th of February, remember it, as clear as crystal, 1945. We crossed in canvas boats, and the Irrawaddy at that point is about 1.5 miles bloody wide, and when you reach it coming out of a jungle, although it's on the Mandalay plain, but it's still, the surrounds, there's still trees around the area, You come out and stand on the banks of the Irrawaddy, and it takes your breath away. I've heard this before, and I've read stories about storytellers saying that that such a thing took the breath away, and I thought, well, it's hard to believe that, but it actually did. And I remember standing there, and after seeing nothing but fields and jungle for bloody ages, you come out all of a sudden, walk through the trees to the banks over this water, and as far as the eye can see, it's just water. It's like coming out onto a seashore. And it actually takes your breath away. You take a deep breath, and it sort of quickens your pulse. Well, that was it when we crossed. We crossed on the night of the 23rd, I think it was, of 23rd, 24th of Feb, to draw them away. But it didn't work. We met very little opposition. The south lanks further down cocked it, but we were lucky. We got across without any casualties. But they opened up on us when we got on the far bank. But it was nothing to what had been expected, because they thought, the Slim & Company thought that our ruse would have drawn the main Japanese army from Mandalay, but it didn't. And that's where the 19th came in. The 19th Division at the same time was rushing through, thinking they were going to just sweep through Mandalay and take it, but the Japs were crafty buggers. They didn't do that. They dug themselves in around the fort walls in Mandalay. Well, the fort was a bloody big massive place, and it was ancient. It was a bloody shame what they did during the war, all these places that were demolished. And they brought big 10-inch guns in, 9.5 guns in, because everything they'd got so far, everything they'd tried on the walls of the fort were a failure. They'd got nothing heavy enough to breach the walls, because they were about 10 bloody feet thick, of solid stone and rock and that. And so they brought these big guns in, and eventually, of course, they took the place. But the planning, as goes for a lot of that during the Second World War, of course, was wrong. What they thought they were going to do didn't come off at all. But all those battles you read about now, even Mandalay, was nothing really to the earlier experience at Kohima and Imphal that got very little publicity, really, because the Japanese were on the retreat by then. They were going like blazes. And that's what they did. They'd reach a place, like when they got to Mandalay, they made a stand, but they were on the retreat all the time. And as soon as we caught up with them, there'd be a brief scrap, and then they were off again. And then they'd form up somewhere else, they'd make a stand again. But earlier on, it was different to that. They were full of beans then. About 12 months earlier at Kohima and Imphal, they were attacking every night, every bloody night. You used to wonder when it was going to end. It was a different story altogether, and to see them in retreat, that's another thing. And all you read these books, a lot of it's nonsense. You read about the atom bomb I don't believe it was necessary. I believe the bombs were dropped as a test, because they had to drop them somewhere and they had to try them, and the temptation was to try them on a town, you know, on a city. Then again, you see, they had the bloody theory and they didn't know whether it would work in practice, I suppose. They didn't know what the damage would actually be. But if you'd have seen the Japanese and the way they were going in round about February, March 1945, you would never have believed that they were going to make a determined stand anywhere, because they were totally different, as I say, to what they'd been a year before. Blackadder, you mentioned. Blackadder was funny. He is funny, but I think he's past his bloody sell-by date. When I see him today, he's not a patch on what he was. I agree with you. That World War I sketch was absolutely. It was a cracker. That, you know, it was really comical. There's no doubt about it. It's one of the funniest things I've seen. That with that little fella as well, that Baldock. You know, the two of them went together to treat. Couldn't have been better.